All right. I am so happy to be joined by my friend Kerrie Schram from Accelerated Visions. Kerrie, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't even really remember meeting you. At this point, I feel like I've always known you, but it's only been a few years. Do you remember when we actually met?
Yes, and first of all, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. I'm a big Brian Tinsman fan, so thank you. And I actually do remember when we met. You were one of the first people I met in Loudoun County.
Mm.
I remember we connected on LinkedIn, and I knew nobody, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, someone's reaching out to me. This is so great!" And I said, "Hey, let's meet up for coffee." I
I
saw that
remember that. Yep.
for Loudoun Economic Development. And I was like, wow, you must know a lot about Loudoun County. And being new to this position and then working in Loudoun, I'm like, I need to know about Loudoun. And who better to know and learn about Loudoun than with you? So we met. And as we talked, I remember you asking me questions about what we do at Accelerated Visions, which was then Kairos Charities, and remembering, well, I really don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're starting to build this out, and like I had a vision for it, but like no metrics in place and whatnot. So I remember that just being and great conversation. So thank you.
Yes, and I do remember that first cup of coffee. It was through LinkedIn, though. You're right. That's amazing. So I feel like since then you have completely taken the ball and run with it. There are often times when I meet with people who are really just breaking into what they're doing, that there's often that sort of homework approach of like, hey, here's based on what you're telling me, here's where I think your next steps could be, here's who I think you should talk to, here's who I think you should meet. But you have run laps around all of that since then. You know people you're introducing me to, which is amazing, not only locally but nationally as well, because the nice thing about Kairos turned Accelerated Visions is you guys are able to operate everywhere. And I love what you do. Could you give us a little bit of sort of the high level on exactly what Accelerated Visions is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. So we help accelerate the growth of nonprofits. And one of the things that being out and about and learning about nonprofits is that the back end of operations sometimes seem to suffer. A lot of these nonprofits have the heart for the mission, but when it comes to the daily tasks of operating on that back end, sometimes it's difficult. So that's where we come in and we really we bring in the technology piece and help them to be more effective and efficient on their back end so they can do more on the front end and put more to their mission and accelerate that. But we do this by bringing together student teams. So we currently work with two universities. We work with West Virginia University and Virginia Tech. And we help to do some technology integrations on the West Virginia side for these nonprofits. It could be a CRM, so customer relation management, more like a business tool, management tool, as well as learning management and content management systems. Sometimes it could be a secure form for a program that they have in place. Well, we do a lot of different variety of things to help these nonprofits. But the magic happens when we bring in the students and the industry mentor to help guide those students on these projects. And so we see a lot of success with the projects. And as far as Virginia Tech, we're working with them with some of the business needs. So where are your business pain points and how can the students help you get to where you need to go? And this year, we're also doing a business project with UVU student team as well. So two different types of business strategies with two different universities. I'm really excited about that.
Well, and that's amazing. I always caution people who are building what I call a two-sided marketplace where they have, they are sort of building that middle connectivity between people who need something and people who have something. So you could think of that in any sort of gig economy as an Uber, I have a car, you need a ride. But what's really hectic is building a three-sided marketplace where you are simultaneously serving nonprofits who have a defined need, students who really need that hands-on training, that almost that if not internship, apprenticeship, really opportunity to get hands-on in the world that they think they want to go into, and then bringing in some sort of industry partners to serve in that mentor role, leadership development, workforce development on that side as well. I mean, you are not only firmly planted in multiple industries there, but also maintaining a lot of relationships within that as well. So, how has that process gone? I know you're a networking extraordinaire, but that's a lot of relationships to maintain there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I think it's just, just staying in contact and open communication when things don't go well, because they always do, right? This is real life. It's trying to figure out how we pivot and how we get to where we need to go. Just being open and being able to communicate is important.
That's awesome. I'll share what my big takeaway was, because I often go out for coffee and come back and just sort of, before I head back to the basement to work, I'll catch up with my wife. And I remember coming back from that coffee with you and saying, I don't know if I can help her, but man, does she have an amazing story. And so I collect people with amazing stories like yours. And of course, with my own background in economic development and my own weird career at this point, I really enjoy other people's career journeys and kind of where they get from point A to point B. So I know what the big pivot was in there, but just tell me a little bit about what you were doing, 10 years ago right now.
Absolutely. So, believe it or not, I work retail. So before I got into three, I was in retail. By trade, I'm a cake decorator. I went to school in Chicago for it. Came back, started a family, and actually worked at Food Lion as a cake decorator, and then became a manager there and started to decorate cakes. I baked breads. I actually even fried some chicken from time to time.
Amazing.
Just all the things that you need to do within management and lead teams. And so my brother calls me and he's like, "Hey, when you come visit, you need to come to this grocery store with me." And Brian, I have to say, the last thing I ever want to do is go in a grocery store when I'm on a
Right.
vacation.
Right.
And so it was Wegmans. I walked into Wegmans and I fell in love. And I said, if they ever come to Richmond, I will work for them. I just felt like, wow, I felt like I was family when I walked through the door. Just loved it. And they came to Richmond, and because it was all the hype in Richmond, a lot of people applied. They had 11,000 applicants apply for the Richmond store, and out of 11,000, they chose 400. And I honestly was honored to be one of the 400. I was a team lead in the bakery, and so that was an interesting experience. I went from a small mom and pop kind of grocery store to a large grocery store baking in the holidays, maybe 100 pies and to thousands of pies, where we would operate 24 hours, 3 days before the holiday. And I was like, what did I get myself into? This is
Hmm.
crazy. I've never baked so many pies in my life. But again, you adjust and you figure it out. And it was really rewarding, to the point where, leading up to where I am today, I wanted to do something different. So I went from the bakery department and I trained to be a manager in the cheese department for Wegmans. So I got to eat a variety of different cheeses. It was super fun.
That would be dangerous to
And oh yeah, it's dangerous for sure. But probably about 2 weeks before was to start my new position, I was driving home, and the craziest thing happened while I was driving home. On the other side of the freeway, I saw a tire come through the median. And not only did it come through the median, but it came in my direction. And so I thought, well, maybe today's the day, right? Because you never know. And it came and it hit the front of the vehicle. And I felt like in the calmest state, which, if anyone knows me, I'm like, all the time. So normally I would be like flipping out, but it was really calming. I just can't even explain it. But it went from hitting the front where it started a fire because it hit the battery, the metal on the rim hit the battery of the car. So it was on fire. It hit the frame of the windshield. So it didn't go through the windshield, but it cracked it in a million pieces. And all I knew was, I got to get over and I got to get out. So I got over and out of the car, and the car burned from the front to the back with all my personal belongings inside. It was definitely traumatic. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I just couldn't believe that had happened. I was just in shock. really, when that happened. And so I am a worker bee and I love working and I love the team that I had at Wegmans. And so I'm like, okay, I really need to go back to work. And I remember going to the doctors after my accident, hurt my shoulder trying to get out and all of that. And I remember was like, I need to go back, even if I can't go back in full capacity. And I remember the doctor holding my hand and saying, you haven't even begun to process what you've been through. I can't allow you to go back. And at the moment, I was like, I'll be fine. And really, I wasn't. And I remember going home and actually I crying. It was crazy. I was afraid to drive, and it was a really tough period for me to go through. I was depressed. I guess I was just so enthralled in work. I was just like, now what?
Right.
Now I have time to be able to like refocus and recenter and return back to work a little different than what I was. I think reflecting back during those couple weeks, I realized that I spent so much time at work and not a lot of time with family. And so it kind of like refocused my life a little bit and how I thought of things. And probably about 3 months after that accident and settling into my new position as a cheese shop manager, I receive a call from my brother. And my brother's like, hey, I have a great opportunity for you. The founder of our company is looking for an executive director of our nonprofit, and he would like you to do that. And I said to my brother, I'm like, I don't know anything about nonprofits. And he said, well, you love people and you're teachable, you can learn anything, and you could do this. And so I hung up the phone and I'm like, can I do this? Like 45, almost 50, I'm getting older in life and it's like, can I do a new challenge? And I thought, well, tomorrow isn't promised. So why not, right? And just go for it. So here I am. I signed a contract for a 2-year contract with the founder, and I'll never forget the day I signed. He said to me, I just need you to do two things. And he said, one is change the world, which, Brian, I'm like, that's a huge lift, right? And then the other part was run a golf tournament, which
There
I
you go.
was like, and I know nothing about golf either. So I'm like, really, what I get myself into again? But but here I am 3 years later. So
Well, that's incredible, and I'm a big fan of all the people that you mentioned there, including your brother and the founder. So I know where they are coming from when they not only when they saw the need to create what was then Kairos Charities, but also just kind of peering into your heart and seeing that you had it in you. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different directions that you could go with a story with a pivot like that. But tell me about, because you are a worker bee. What were some of the things that you could change? How are you able to find to rebalance and recalibrate things in your life?
and do you mean after the accident or
The accident.
currently?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and maybe how that has that carried through, or do you feel like, it's just so different now that it's hard to compare?
It is so different now. I think that starting this from like, what do I say, ground zero, right? There
Yeah.
is starting it with what it was and trying to figure out with this, how do I create a program for this nonprofit and still be sustainable? And I think when you put your heart into everything that you do and you know that you're helping other people with their missions that are so important of what they're doing, you can't stop. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I just love what I do so much that it's like I can't stop sometimes because I know that what we're doing is making a difference. And so I do carve some time aside for family, which I realize is so important. And I think one of the things that this job allows me to do is be able to enjoy some of the holidays a little more than what I used to be able to do baking 1 million pies, right? So I have some time, but then I also have my go times. Like it is Christmas, which I feel like I'm in right now.
Right.
It's the season of golf and projects onboarding. So I know that, there's a time and place to rest and there's a time and place to give it 110% and just keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah. And up again, what are some of the nonprofit projects that you have queued up that are ready to roll?
Yeah, so excited to talk about that as well. We've partnered with the Emily Shane Foundation. So to your point, it's not just in Virginia. We are everywhere. And we're working with her foundation out of California to work on some of the pain points that she is having right now. She was unfortunately one of the nonprofits that has to deal with the Palisade fires. And so she lost a lot of donor and help and support because of that. So she's trying to figure out the direction of where she's going next. So the student team will be working with her. We're also working with CSZ Theater, which is in Richmond. And so they're a nonprofit theater, and they are partnering with Virginia Tech to work through some of their pain points. They've been around for over 20 years, and they're looking to grow and expand their organization as well. And then as far as technical projects, we have Bridal Pass back for phase 2, where we're doing more integration on the CRM that the student team is creating for them.
Hmm.
And as well as us, we are actually going through our own process as well with CRM integration with the student team. So really excited about what is coming up. And yeah, that's right now, that's what's on the roster for fall projects. So we're really looking forward to that.
That's great. This episode of Think Outside the Box with Pounce is brought to you by constructive criticism. You know, the kind of feedback that's technically helpful, but it still feels like someone publicly humiliated you and enjoyed doing it. Over the years, you've trained yourself to smile politely, nod thoughtfully, and say, "That's great input," even though your brain is quietly packing a suitcase and heading for the airport. Because nothing builds character like hearing, "Now don't take this the wrong way," right before you take it the wrong way. Try constructive criticism today. Yeah, and I know that you described this, but at Pounce we work with a ton of nonprofits, and I will say that every single one of them has their own unique back end operation side of things, and that it's often held together with duct tape and chewing gum. So much of what these mission driven organizations do is dedicated to their mission, and that people don't want to support overhead. And I get it. And that's not where the story is. That's not where people's hearts are when they're giving to these things. But just the impact of that, where you are essentially giving restricted funding to an organization to only execute on certain things, that money can't go towards funding of the people, often the staff that runs different organizations. It also can't go towards the tools and resources that they use in order to be able to execute the mission. Sometimes it can, depends on exactly what it is. But as you're mentioning, a CRM, for those people who may not know that term, is a customer relationship management tool. There's also donor management tools and a whole world of things out there. I'll just say sort of the long view on that from 15 years ago when I started working with nonprofits. The tools have increased in quality, but there's still often quirks and, something specific about the way that they work or the people that they serve where something might not quite align with what's available in the marketplace. So could you just give us a little bit, again, for people who don't know much about Kairos Tech, it's a tech company, and it's filled with brilliant people who make these custom integrations and things like that. Can you tell me about that marriage of where they kind of came in with a heart for wanting to give back, and maybe some of the projects that they've gotten to work on over the years?
Yes, absolutely. So the founder of Kairos Technologies founded Accelerated Visions, which was then Kairos Charities. They felt like they wanted to be able to help other nonprofits because they were startups at one point, and they knew how difficult it was not only to get funding but to operate efficiently and effectively. And so one of the companies that was successful under their Kairos Technologies banner was called Carbon Black, and Carbon Black was very successful, sold. And when they sold, they did three things. They wanted to give back to other technology companies as a whole. So they started a VC to help incubate those companies. They put money back into Kairos Technologies to spin out other companies. And then they put money into what is now Accelerated Visions, which was Kairos Charities, to start a charity to help nonprofits be more effective and efficient through technology. So tech for good, like how can we help others with technology? And so the other thing that they did not want to do was charge the nonprofits for the development of these projects, because they knew how expensive sometimes technology can be for some of these nonprofits. And so that's one thing I love about what we're doing at Accelerated Visions is that we're not giving them the fish, we're teaching them to fish. And we're also not charging them for the fish.
Well, and that's incredible in its own right. I'll just tell you from my own experience. Again, working in local government, we did a basic CRM integration, and in that case, you're paying five figures for the technology. You're paying another five figures for the integration. So yeah, I mean, I know that there are with the work that you guys do, there are sometimes depending on exactly what that is, where they still need to pay the fees to have that thing. But, again, with you guys covering custom integration, that is an enormous savings that makes things possible that I can tell you just from a financial standpoint would not be possible without you guys donating your time and expertise to that.
Thank you. And it leads me to think about one of the really interesting projects that we did with the folks at Kairos Technologies was to create a much secure messaging tool for shelter houses and the integrations that had to go into that tool for someone to be able to purchase a tool like that. It would cost them at the minimum $100,000 for the integrations that have to be in place to protect women and children. And so that project in particular was done by two very skilled cyber security professionals, as well as two students from UVA that were interning at the time with Kairos Technologies. It was an amazing project, and the tool is quite fascinating.
Yes, right, right. And, without going too deep into detail there, again, vulnerable populations, and this specific to the mission of the organization, need to be able to communicate sometimes in ways. This is, it's not as simple as reaching into your pocket and calling 911 or communicating some other way. This is with lives on the line that there's technology that can be created in some of the most creative ways that can literally save lives. So incredible work that you guys are doing. Can you, I know you mentioned a few, but can you shout out some other Loudoun County and Northern Virginia nonprofit organizations that you guys have worked with?
Yes, absolutely. So we worked with Laws this past spring on a project for back end operations, as well as Flip Flop Friends.
Hmm.
We work with Hero Academy early on for website integration. There's so many different organizations. Della South Soup Kitchen, we helped this summer with one of the high school marketing interns that we helped to train, and they were doing social media for them. So those are some. And then Share the Love, we worked on an auction platform with them as well.
That's amazing. Yeah. And as I said, some of these may not sound like boutique technology, but again, the way that they need to operate, the way that they need to be integrated into their systems, maybe tying together, a donor management platform over here, a client management platform over there, and just make all of these things talk to each other. It's such an incredible savings that compounds over time because it could be, again, systems that would not work together, or it could be functionality that was not possible, or it could be somebody's full-time job to just make sure these two things work. And all of a sudden they're freed up to focus on something that again is driving impact for the people that they serve. So it's a beautiful thing, and I think what you guys end up doing is very technical, but you can draw that direct line between that and the impact on the mission. So just amazing work there. I smiled when he said Flip Flop Friends because that was actually a project that I got to work on that Pounce was part of, and so I got to serve a little bit more in that mentor role, but I also brought on my colleague Alexis to be a little bit more hands-on as well. I really saw the opportunity in that, not only to make sure that one of us was always available, but also for her own, leadership development and professional development, that it was an incredible opportunity there. So is that part of what you pitch to other organizations to get involved, is to say, hey, this is a leadership development opportunity as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I do have one quick story for you about that. We did a project with 500 Rising, which is a local nonprofit, and is a woman that teaches women in self defense, and she trains them to train other women in self defense. And when we met her, she had different systems not communicating as one, and she wanted one system that was mobile friendly,
Hmm.
more app friendly. the students came in, and I remember the first day, it was myself and one of the mentors from Kairos Technology and the student team, and it's like the first day of school. Everyone's quiet, no one's saying anything, and to watch not only the students, but to see the impact that the mentor had on the students over the course of the project was incredible, to the point where the students still bring up about learning the agile process through one of the tech mentors, and how they have applied it not only within their academic school year, but also like in real life, like how they plan what they're doing outside in jobs and different prospects, and by using what was taught to them by the mentor was really incredible. And also, I think it helps to instill confidence within the students, and it teaches them, what I really love is it teaches the students how to function in that gray area. Like, sometimes I think academia can be so black and white.
Mhm.
It's nice to see that you can get to where you need to go, but you might do it a little different, and that's okay. It's fine to do that. And I think that's what the mentors bring to these projects, and to see the difference it makes in the students, priceless. And for the nonprofits as well. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I can just speak back to my own experience. That I had a good time in college. I don't know how much I learned that I could apply to what I do now at all. I don't know that there's, other than just sort of the repetition of writing, which of course is sort of the foundation of my marketing skills, but everything I learned was in that internship environment, apprenticeship, and as an entry-level job. And I think to be able to gain that, again, just, thinking back to the Flip Flop Friends was in partnership with West Virginia University, and there were students there that were all the way through, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, and that they were a lot more poised than I felt like I was at that point, and were able to contribute immediately in a workforce setting. And that, gosh, if I'd had that kind of experience, I may have had more options in life. But that you are providing such an incredible opportunity to them and to the mentors, that it seems like a volunteer role, but really they're leading teams in ways perhaps that they don't get to do on the job as well, and approaching projects, just like everyone learns from interns, or should, just because they bring a different perspective. So it's an incredible, interdependent, interwoven, three-sided opportunity for benefit. And I think that's really the pitch for supporting Accelerated Visions, because you've done the legwork at this point, over the last few years, to build out what the model looks like, to build those relationships, to have the partnerships, establish partnerships with major universities in this area, and that this is the sort of thing that can go everywhere. And we'll need to clone you at some point, but other than that, I think we're full speed ahead. So where do you think Accelerated Visions goes from here?
Gosh, I would love to have a team to work with, connecting with new student teams, new nonprofits, helping other people throughout the United States, not just here in Virginia, just really expanding what we're doing, trying to help more nonprofits as well as more students.
Mhm.
So, as far as the future, I would love to see us grow this to several hundred projects a year, if that's possible. I know right now our numbers are low, but there's always a way to bring on more projects. So, really excited about the future, and pivoting and doing different things to be able to help these nonprofits.
And to make that happen, I mean, donations always welcome and needed, and really that is fed directly back into. And what I love is that a donation to Accelerated Visions is a donation to those nonprofits that you work with. It's just compounded along the way, because you are creating student opportunities, you are creating professional development and leadership development opportunities for the mentors and the tech companies that you work with there. So everyone benefits in here, and then that nonprofit in your community gets the benefit of boutique technology and integration that they would never have otherwise. So other than that, who's a good fit for you guys? What is a nonprofit that meshes particularly well? What do the mentor opportunities look like? Who can I introduce you to?
Yes, thank you. I think nonprofits that need help from the back end, organizational wise, to help them be more efficient and effective with technology. Maybe they have a tool that they're currently using. Sometimes they have these systems that are so robust, they don't know where to start, or
Mhm.
they're just not using them, or they have so many things that they're paying for on the back end.
Mhm.
How could we help them integrate that and streamline that into maybe one or two simplistic tools that will
Mhm.
help them and save them money? Sometimes they have these robust tools that are so expensive, we can go in and streamline their process and sometimes saves them thousands of dollars. But as far as mentors, we're looking for people that want to give back. We're looking for people that can utilize their skills to be able to help students and nonprofit teams accelerate their growth, both. So, would love to talk to anyone that has some technology experience. The students do all the heavy lifting. So, it doesn't have to be vast technology experience. It just has to be a little bit of know what about technology, and then the rest is just being a mentor for the students and maybe also for the nonprofits.
That's awesome. And I wanted to share, I haven't talked to you in a few weeks, but I got outreach from one of the West Virginia students who wanted me to come speak to her marketing association class as well. So it's you forge relationships there that continue on. So looking forward to that as well. And that, hey, we need interns at Pounce sometimes as well. So it's nice to have a ready network of people who are either still in college or, early, entry level sort of roles and things like that, that it never hurts to have people that have done big things. So that's awesome, and really appreciate you creating that opportunity for us.
Thank you. Yeah, it becomes like a pipeline for the students and the companies to be able to give students those internships and different possibilities of employment, right? So you never know what's going to happen. And that's the other magic piece of this. We've had companies look at work with students and then get back with them and say, hey, we'd love to bring you on to our company. Really great things happening.
Exactly. That's where it all starts. You have to know that person exists. So anything's possible after that. I am a nerd for transferable skills. So kind of within that career journey and things like that, turning it back to you. What does baking pies or cooking chicken or cutting, arranging cheese, whatever went into all of those different roles? What's the most transferable thing to what you did day to day and what you do day to day now?
High standards, like giving it 110%. I would give 110% baking pies and frying chicken, and it's giving that 110% to what I do on a day in and day out basis. Plus, it's also doing more for others. Even back in my Wegmans days, it's like, what can I do to help the customer? It's what can I do to help the students? What can I do to help these nonprofits? And trying to figure out ways, thinking outside the box to get to the solution. Did it a lot in retail, and that is a transferable skill that I still use today.
I love that answer, and that is so true to who you are too. And it's funny. I was just my son is 5, so he asks a lot of questions, and they're sometimes really amazing questions too. But he hit me with one literally yesterday. We went out and got haircuts and hit Chick-fil-A on the way back, and he asked why, why the lady came out and basically had a conversation, that is somewhat scripted. I mean, they always do the my pleasure, when you say thank you and stuff. It's in their training, I know that. But also they don't hire people who aren't going to carry through on that. It comes across as authentic because it is. And I think that's something that is so true to the work that you've done. And again, just taking the twists and turns of life and pointing them in a direction that you can go. I'm so impressed with the work that you've done, and I know that there's bigger and better things coming. But get engaged. I mean, this has been an incredible opportunity. I'm not a tech person. We worked on a marketing project, but there are opportunities to get involved kind of across the board here. So if you are a nonprofit, if you are an employer who's looking for those leadership development opportunities for employees, if you are a college or university or a student or any of the above, there's real opportunity in all of this. And I love the mindset that you bring to it. Anything else? And where can people find out more information about Accelerated Visions?
Yes. Thank you, Brian, for the plug. I appreciate it. Always appreciate your support. Thank you. So reach out, check out our website, acceleratedvisions.org. So yes, or find us on LinkedIn, Accelerated Visions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kerrie, and we'll talk to you soon.